We're now joined by Mr. Robert Zoellick, the former president of the World Bank. Thank you very much for taking time for a little interview. Thank you. My first question would be, in your opinion, what are the three most relevant threats that today's youth has to face?
I'm not sure I would focus on threats. I'd focus on opportunities. The way I see the world, there's some great challenges out there, which I suppose you could describe as threats. But the first one is the rise of developing countries offers huge economic opportunities for their publics, but also people in the developed world. But there'll have to be a large series of changes in terms of trade, investment, business patterns. But while this will be dislocational for some people, I'd prefer to see it as an opportunity. Second one, we still live in a world where there are security dangers, whether they be dangers of countries that may dismember others, as we've seen with Russia and Crimea and Ukraine. Nuclear weapons, as one faces with Iran and North Korea. But here again, I think there's a question of whether one can create some opportunities to provide some security assurances and to work cooperatively to counter what would be threats to a modern era of security. And then the last one, which I guess is maybe a combination of opportunity and threat, is that the big data and information resources is changing things so fast in terms of how businesses can provide services and customize them to people, but also perhaps different senses of privacy. And so those issues, but also issues of water or health or other topics, the thing that I would just encourage your generation to think about is not to feel overwhelmed by these, but try to apply what you've learned and continue to learn to try to address some of them.
So if you were now 25 years old, how would you actually make those challenges or face those challenges or make opportunities out of those challenges?
Well, this depends a lot on individuals. So there's some people that may have capabilities and interests, for example, in science and technology, and they would want to do a deep dive into some area of research, whether DNA or software development or others. My approach has been more multidisciplinary. So my background included history and economics and law and finance and organizations. So I would probably try to apply that same set of knowledge and capabilities because there are some ongoing continuities in humankind. So I know that this is supposed to be about the clash of generations, but if you think about the history over centuries, there's probably some similarities between your generation and mine too.
So one of the World Bank's missions is actually also to fight the global poverty. And what is your very personal opinion about empowering the youth in terms of tackling this quite issue?
Well, I think I'd start with empowering the developing countries, because one of the lessons for economic growth, which is important to overcoming poverty, at the same time you have to focus on those that have the greatest need, whether health or education or others, is if the local country doesn't own it, it won't work. Experts bringing in solutions, even well-intentioned, are not going to be successful. So as part of that, one needs to draw young people in terms of the process. This starts with education. It starts with giving opportunity to girls as well as boys. It has good health. I think increasingly one of the big challenges is going to be tertiary education and different models using information technology, different types of private and public models, so that people can be more productive and add to productivity in their society. But one other aspect about young people, remember, this is all part of demographics. There's actually a lot of countries, Europe, Japan, Russia, China, where the demographics suggest that young people can play a very important role, because in part you're going to have to be fueling these economies and pensions for people. And so with this tone that it's a problem to have large numbers of young people, I would turn it on its head. I think that's a great asset for a society.
Thank you very much for the short interview, and enjoy the rest of your
Thanks.
Thank you.